my 40th birthday, which was July of 2020, I self published my first book and I called it All Things Come to an End. So I called it that because just thinking about life and everything that we go through, um, all things come to an end. And I came up with a quote that all things come to an end so that we can have beautiful new beginnings. Because in life, when things don't go our way, things get hard, um, or just certain seasons and relationships come to an end. We feel like it's the death of us, um, that we're not going to make it through. And that is just not the case. And I wanted to share a story about someone who was navigating life in her late 20s. And she's experiencing these losses. And in the midst of everything, of all the chaos, all the trauma, she's not sure if she's going to make it through. She's not sure if she's strong enough um, to get through the challenges that she's facing. Um, but while she's going through these things, she has a strong family um, that helps her through this journey. Um, and I think it's important in our own lives that we have that person, that family, um, that we can depend on or just talk to when things get heavy, you know? So today that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about all things come to an end. And I want to read a little bit to you on this storytelling Saturday. I stop at my parents' house before going to see Chris. As I pull up to the house, I feel like a weight settle on my chest. I'm used to seeing my father in the garage standing or sawing wood for a piece of furniture he's building. Now his days are filled with indescribable pain that flows through his body. I get scared when I see him lying in bed, his body so still, it looks like he has passed on. He's adamant about not dying in a hospital. He says he wants to be home and comfortable as he can be. When I walk into the house, the living room is empty and quiet. I turn around to close the door, and my mother walks out of the dining room. Hey, you, she says, as she walks back into the living room. Every time I talk to my mother, she tells me the clock is ticking and my father's time is limited. I can tell she's worn out, but she keeps pushing through, showing her strength while underneath wanting to break down. I place my keys and purse on the couch and follow her to the dining room. She sits down at the dining room table, picks up her spoon, and stirs the coffee sitting in front of her. She must have just poured it because I can see the steam rising from the cup. Why are you sitting in the dining room? I ask. She pulls the spoon from the coffee cup and places it on the napkin. Just sitting here in my thoughts. What's on your mind, Ma? It's happening too fast, she says, and takes two small sips of her coffee. I sit quietly with my head down, trying to think of how to respond. Nothing comes to mind. I look up I look up at her and can no longer see the dimple that sits on her cheek when she smiles. I'm sorry, Ma, I say. I already feel this emptiness in my heart and this heavy feeling on my shoulders. It's killing my soul, and there's nothing I can do about it. Her brows are creased and her face tense. Your heart will always be an archive full of memories etched in your brain, I say. I try to think of a good memory between me and Dad, but nothing comes to mind. Ma, can I ask you a question? Sure, she says, giving me her undivided attention. I can't recall happy memories of me and Dad. Why is that? I busted my butt to get good grades and to be the perfect student, but he never acknowledged anything I did. Never came to any of my track meets or award ceremonies. Sweetheart, I wish I could answer that for you. I mean, he was always there to show support for Michelle and Landon, even when Michelle was constantly getting into trouble and Landon was barely passing and threatening to drop out of school. Maybe it was because you were the one child he knew could hold her own. I scrunched up my face and let what she said marinate. Regardless of whether he felt I could hold my own, I still needed him, and I wish we had a closer relationship. From the dining room, I could see the pictures on the living room wall. My eyes fixate on Michelle's wedding picture of her and my dad together. I think about how when I do get married, whenever that will be, my father won't be there to walk me down the aisle and give me away like he did Michelle. He won't get a chance to see Landon's children or my children. My heart hurts thinking about it. My eyes wander to the rest of the pictures and stop when I see the pensive look on my mother's face. Go say hello to your father. I walk down the hall to my parents' bedroom and see my father lying in the bed. At first glance, it looks like he's sleeping. He opens his eyes just when I'm about to turn and walk out. Come here, he says, his voice frail. I walk over to the bed and think back to all the times I would get blamed for something and he would call me into the room to spank me. I was never the one causing the problem, yet I was the one getting in trouble. I sit next to him on the bed. He extends his hand out to me, so I grab it and begin to rub it. He looks so fragile lying in bed. Each time I come to visit, he looks thinner and weaker. My mother walks in behind me and sits in the chair across from the bed. She nods and smiles at me. I look back at my dad. He's trying to tell me something but can't quite get it out. It takes him a couple of minutes, but he finally says something. I'm sorry. I look over at my mom with confusion. She whispers, Listen. I look back at my dad. What are you sorry about? I'm sorry I never told you how proud I am of you. I'm sorry I wasn't there when you needed me to be there for you. He takes a deep breath and continues. You've accomplished so much and achieved every goal you set for yourself. You are the one I never had to worry about because I knew you were the strong one, like me. Tears well up in my eyes. I can't believe what I'm hearing. We've had a distant relationship, and I'm sorry for that. Please forgive me. I sit in awe for a moment that feels like an eternity. I have waited years to hear this from my father, and it saddens me that it took him being on his deathbed to tell me this. I wipe the tears from my face and take a couple of deep breaths. I look at my dad and gently squeeze his hand. Daddy, I forgive you. Thank you for all you have done for me. A tear slowly drips from his eye and lands on his pillow. He turns his head away from me for a moment. I need you to promise me that you will take care of your mother. She's going to need you. I promise I will take care of mom. He pats his chest with his left hand. He always did that to my sister when she was a little girl crying over something. She would lie on his chest and he would give her a hug and say, "Everything will be all right, baby girl." I slowly lay my head on his chest and he whispers to me, "I love you, my baby girl. Everything is going to be all right." That was it. That was my breaking point. I cried so hard, tears of happiness and sadness. Happy tears because I waited years to hear those words and receive that affection from my father. Sad tears because I know this means he won't be here for much longer. I sit on the bed next to him until he starts to doze off. Then I walk in the room. Then I walk in the kitchen to talk to my mom a little longer before leaving to meet Chris. She's standing over the kitchen sink, cleaning the chicken and plucking the pieces of feathers off the wings. When she sees me walk in, when she sees me walk in the kitchen, she washes her hands, dries them off with a paper towel, and extends her arms out. "Come give your mama a hug." "I'm sorry, baby." "For what?" "You shouldn't have had to wait this long to hear those words from your father." I think back to what I went through with Ricky and how he almost killed me. When Alan was stalking me and almost killed me, and Dad didn't seem to care. I expected more of him as my father. I needed him in those moments to feel protected and loved. Instead, I felt like an abandoned child. Before I head out to see Chris at the shop, my mom fills me in on the latest gossip. She wouldn't be Eunice if she didn't have some tea to spill about someone. I really poured my heart into this book, and I want to, my goal is to write more books like this, you know, um, just to show a glimpse of hope for someone who's going through something, um, and let them know that, yeah, things may come to an end, but your beautiful beginning is on the other side of that. So don't hold on to what you're going through or the situation that you're currently in. Like they say, trouble don't last always. So, um, if you enjoyed the read or you want to support a self-published author, you can head over to Through the Journey and order your copy of All Things Come to an End. And I hope you stay tuned because, like I said, I love to write, and I have so many stories that I've already written down. I just need to finish. Um, but each story offers something that can help with growth because in different seasons of our lives, we experience different things. And it's not meant to break us, it's meant to help us grow. You know, if we don't experience different things, we can't grow to that next level, you know? So, yeah, that's what Through the Journey novels are going to be about. So, yeah, like, comment, share, head over to throughthejourney.com, order your copy, and stay connected. Stay tuned for another Storytelling Saturday.